What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about an Arc Titan build using the point contact cannon bracing, which uses that Thunderclap Melee to absolutely annihilate enemies, feeling like All Might using a Detroit Smash or something like that. So this is going to be great for that new Onslaught mode and just going into the future. This is one of my favorite Titan builds that we have had, especially on the Arc side of things. So starting us out right here, we got Hammer of the Gods. Defeating targets with your Thunderclap Melee restores melee energy. Targets near you when you use the Thunderclap suffer from a lightning strike that become jolted. Being amplified increases this damage. It's like about 50% that it increases it by. And the damage of the lightning strikes goes crazy with that jolt. You can stun champions with that, as well as just clear ads like a maniac. The point contact cannon brace right here with the Arc subclass, and having that 100 in resilience, 100 in strength with the mods, as well as the aspects and fragments. This build is just chaining lightning like an animal. So for our mods that we're going to have on this, like I said, building this out for 100 in resilience, 100 in strength, and keeping everything else about middle just seemed to work the best. We're going to be using hands-on, so we get super energy on all those melee defeats, and we're using point contact as much as we possibly can with special ammo finder and harmonic siphon. We're going to have two different set of weapon options, and they were both slapping out, feeling really good. We got melee kickstarter to pair with this when we have armor charge, and when we use our melee, we're going to get a nice chunk of it back depending on how many armor charges we have. So creating orbs of power with this build, very easy, with you will see on our aspects, as well as having that harmonic siphon. Now we're going to get momentum transfer and impact induction, so causing damage with those powered melees, going to give us our grenade back, and then on the reverse side, our grenade damage is going to give us our melee cooldown, so a little positive feedback there. We're going to use charged up to have more orbs of light for that armor charge right here, so we get more chunk of that melee energy back, as well as whatever resistance you are going into. Solar, Void, Arc, you can change these out for whatever you want. On my buttes, I went with orbs of restoration, absolution, as well as invigoration to get our melee back, as well as our other abilities as fast as possible, with outreach on our class item and Reaper for more orbs of power, and then of course getting our melee back so we can really just spam that melee and thunderclap as often as possible. So for my first option of weapons, which I think is the better option to use, is the Monte Carlo right here. We have that weapon damage reduces melee cooldown, so we can use the melee thunderclap even more often. Plus with that nice alternate fire mode in it, we can stab, get ourselves some nice good damage with that. We're using the new undercurrent right here with ambitious and volt shot on this. Very good for that arc synergy, all those orbs that we're getting with harmonic siphon, and with that volt shot we are just becoming even more of an ad clear menace. Like I said, our arms are gonna jolt with our melee, as well as this right here with volt shot, and then we are using the reconstruction target lock on Song of Your Root. Yes, you can't get this unless you go into a raid, but we do have the other options. That's what I was talking about, which we are going to be using Tuska the Boar, Prosecutor, and Thunderlord, so everyone can grab Thunderlord, one of the best PvE LMGs out there. Now we did get the reprised Prosecutor right here for the Prophecy Dungeon. This got Dragonfly and Volt Shot on it. Again, just an absolute menace for that ad clear potential, creating those arc explosions with Dragonfly, as well as jolting targets with Volt Shot, so it pairs very well with the synergy of this arc build. And then we are going to be using the new Tusk of the Boar from Iron Banner, Slideways Chain Reaction, so we can get those nice big strand explosions on this. Slide around to reload, don't have to wait for it to reload by itself. Very good to pair with this, but I think I do, like I said, like the Monte Carlo with Undercurrent and the Song of Root a little bit better, just because Monte Carlo is going to pair perfectly, giving us back our melee absolutely like instantly sometimes, and then it's just way faster. Not much going on over here on our artifact, just what I was using, Overload Auto Rifle for the most of it. And then when we are using Tuska the Boar, you can use Horde Shuffle and Unraveling Orbs right here, so we can get some unraveling rounds and those threadlings to spawn, but that is really it. You can throw on solo operative if you want, if you're going in by yourself, but nothing really too special about the artifact for this. It is a build all by itself, and it'll get only better when we have artifact mods that are for Arc specifically. Now when we move on to our super, we're going to be using Thunder Crash for that DPS with a Towering Barricade, Strafe Lift, and of course Thunderclap right here, so we can hold down that charge, Falcon Punch out, do that all might punch, and just absolute juice targets with this because of that chaining of the lightning and the point contact cannon brace. I'm going to be using Pulse Grenade because I think it is the best for this PvE realm, even with the touch of thunder here. Those pulses create ionic traces after it damages over time, and it increases its damage over time. So when we collect those, we're going to get some ability energy back. It is a nice little thing that we got going on. Plus, we're going to be able to jolt with this because of shock down here. Now, we are going to be using Knockout. Critically wounded a target or breaking their shield infuses our next melee attack with arc energy, increasing its range and damage, so that'll even make it better for the Thunderclap. Plus, we become amplified and get health regen from this, so it is super good for that end game content because you can just charge that up, wipe out some energies, get your health back, and get that melee back almost instantly, and just keep on moving. On top of that, we got Spark of Feedback, so we have even more melee damage going out when we take a little bit ourselves. We're going to create even more of that jolt around with our grenades because of Spark of Shock right here. So our grenade, our weapons, as well as our melee is going to create a bunch of jolt and that arc damage around. So like I said, we are just chaining it, wiping out enemies, being able to stun champions. It's absolutely disgusting. Plus, while we're surrounded, we have Spark of Resistance. Well surrounded, we have that incoming damage resistance, so we can stay alive a little bit better. Get this to proc as well by taking that melee damage. And last but not least, like I said, we are creating a bunch of orbs with this build because rapidly defeating targets while you are amplified creates orbs, and we are becoming amplified almost instantly with this build just because of rapidly defeating targets with arc makes us amplified. So just intrinsically the build is gonna make us amplified in itself, and then we got everything going with it, the weapons to pair with it for that jolt and shock. We got our grenade doing the same thing, as well as all those orbs of power and the point contact cannon braces coming in clutch, giving us a chunk of our energy back depending on the enemies that we defeat with melee kickstarter. Knockout, this build is an odd clear. Menace was taking it into this nightfall, just absolutely going through no problem at all. Didn't even have on a weapon that could stun unstoppables, and we were still totally fine. Got it done with an LFG group, so nothing can stop you with this build. Very fun, gonna be very good for that Onslaught mode for sure, coming out next week, so definitely give this bad boy a try. Arc Titans, definitely don't sleep on it. So I appreciate all you guys again for coming back to the channel. Don't be afraid to smack that bell if you would like to get some of the notifications for these builds, God World Guides, Pal World updates, which we got a video on that tomorrow as well, because there was a huge one on Thursday with the first raid boss, so be on the lookout for that. But again, appreciate all you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.